and welcome. And let's do the seventh verse called the Unending War from the book Footprints on Waters Free. It's a lovely day, autumn day. Thought I'd do some reading. This poem is an apparent story, though there are really no stories because stories presume time and characters, solid static characters which live through time and have experiences and concepts and beliefs. But this is an apparent story about meats and vegetables that are on the brink of a war, and the salt is, you could say, an intermediary, though I wouldn't call her that. She's apparently the one speaks as her about the unseparateness of this appearance. So when they are on the brink of a war, I'll just read out a few extracts to give the flavor of the poem. Later continued the salt. Illusory are all your walls, in which you store delusion. Rather, you are the illusion, for nature as attributes display, delicate, dense or free its display, with none being bound in the clay. Yet in appearance this buffet, where believes the self illusory that it performs the activity. You all believe the reason for war is negative traits that roar of segregation, racism, nationality, capitalism, or bad mentality, while at the core of all brutality is individuality. The problem isn't vegetables or meats, but lack that stems from being incomplete, which stems from the sense of self that seems separate from the appearing theme, which splits the oneness of existence and leads to further ignorance. For life pretending to be separate appears to curve the formless innate in form small, seemingly in time and space, with story sad, sublime. This split the commencement of war, which then fights the split to restore, wishes to unite with its essence, infinite, its omnipresence, desires to end its apparent course and return to its natural source. For there's a feeling of loss being wrong, unbroken, the unbroken song. For it's lost in self a pretense, thus cannot see its own essence. But the more it strives, the more it seems further from life's present themes. Present theme. This appears in the food species alone, that by illusion's decree is lost in ignorance of individual appearance. Of a small self, its parameters, which wishes to protect its sectors. As this species is smart to glorify its art, so formed are nations and a race, religions and a social place. Then to sustain the self, the collective, woven of fables and perspectives, and reinforced is the whole game for survival of the apparent name. Gluttony, goods, and games takes charge, which then to fill a mirage. Believe the possessive streak will protect and fill a gulf or creek. But this greed is insatiable, stays till appears an individual. Even when the self is at peace with others, it's not at ease, it is at war within its lair, for its very nature is warfare, as it divides its kingdom to fight guilt, shame, or boredom. For it wishes to end its dual feature, but cannot, as elusive is its nature. Even if one's tolerant proclaims all, his oneness would never stall. I wouldn't go into details now. It's just reading out a few extracts, but I'd like to read out these a few lines. So your race to end the isms, a band-aid, not cure for the schism. For you can't escape the illusion of self and its seeming delusion. So even if you seek ways anew to fill the gulf that seems to peace pursue, it will further complicate, appear to sedate. This I speak of an apparent tale of the food sapiens and their trail. But all is life alone, appearing as known unknown, appearing to be far from home's presence, trapped in the altars of self's ignorance. But all is simply a play of one in myriad display. There are a few lines which seemed would like to read them out as well. Though war is an expression of energy and illustration, For all that does appear is energy in varied gears, and wars may still appear to transpire, even if extinguishes the self its fire. For an individual doesn't exist to have a choice. The natural alone appears on its own, none to own it or it disown. But this message is not to be lazy or kill, go seemingly crazy. Simply stating there is no one that kills or dies, for all is none, implies this message implies the message hasn't been heard, is parroted, its sages unheard. For this is not a view to perceive, or a missive all should believe, for that would be another principle, to chase falseness and evade the essential. So don't feel you can get away by stating all is just a play, for you're being burnt in this furnace of life and its miraculous mess. If you apparently do slay, you will apparently have to pay. For energy in its appearance appears as for the ordinance. So this was a few extracts from the verse. This story in verse seems to highlight the apparent pattern of seeking and how it weaves those patterns and apparently seems to live in it. This poem, as you must have understood, is on war and peace. Uh, an interesting story how intrigue and apparent intrigue, I would say, apparent intrigue and all play an apparent part in the duality, the apparent duality of war and peace. Thank you.